What's up, y'all? It's Dr. Paul. I have what will be a little bit of an offbeat mail call today. This is not a giant Toblerone. This is a tube containing, should be, a couple of posters that are some comic book ephemera, comic book related collectibles. And hopefully, well, that was easy. Hopefully, you'll enjoy this video and potentially collect some comic book ephemera yourself as a little bit of a diversion from the normal collecting that we do. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Dr. Paul Kosnick. I have over 40 years experience collecting comic books. And what I do here on the channel is share my experience and passion in comic book collecting, investing, and conservation with you all. This is Mylar. This is regular plastic. All right, let's see what we have here. Some of you will notice we have new space. My move is almost done. I guess I should say also, happy holidays to everybody. We'll just get that out of the way, make all of the war on Christmas people angry. Happy holidays. So this poster's pretty cool. I'll do a little what is it and why do we care. This lot of 2 posters, I purchased them together, obviously. The Yellow Kid is a comic strip from the late 19th century. So I think it only ran about 5 years. It's actually where the term yellow journalism comes from. This is a reproduction poster from the 80s, so this is not original to the late 1800s. It's cool. The truth is, I don't know a lot about this poster or what its value might be. This is not the reason that I purchased this lot. This poster is the reason that I purchased this lot. Look how cool that is. All right, I'm gonna have to get something to spread this out. I'll be right back. Wow, look at that. Walt Simonson is pretty incredible. So this poster is obviously why I purchased this lot of 2. But before we really get into this, I want to show off another poster. This poster here is an ad for Thor number 363. And I remember seeing this on the wall at the comic shop when I was a kid. I would have been 13 at the time. And this poster is what got me interested in what Walter Simonson was doing on Thor. And from there, I started reading Thor. I got really hooked on this story arc and the art and the characterization that Walt Simonson was doing. And I worked backwards from there to collect Walt Simonson's entire run on Thor. And that was one of my very first collecting goals as a budding comic book enthusiast. One of the interesting things about this poster is that it was never offered for sale. This was given away by Marvel to comic book shops to promote Thor. It's a cheap poster, frankly. It's printed on paper stock. It's not slick paper. It's a bit thicker than, like, say, copy paper, but I wouldn't really call it cardstock. And it has a matte finish. It's folded twice. And so it was just printed on a single sheet, folded twice. It is only 2 color, right? So this was printed in a 2-color process, just black and green in this case. This is the poster that got me started, and this is why I chased down this poster. So for those of you not familiar, Walter Simonson is, in my opinion, He's the second greatest creator for Thor at Marvel Comics, after Stan and Jack's definitive run on Journey into Mystery and the self-titled Thor. Some even consider Walt Simonson the greatest Thor creator, but for me it's still Stan and Jack. They started in 1962 with Journey into Mystery number 83, and the title changed to Thor but kept the Journey into Mystery numbering with issue number 126. Stan and Jack stayed on the title until issue 179 in 1970. And while Thor started off as a super derivative Superman knockoff, frankly, if you read those first half dozen issues, it's ridiculous how much of a copycat to Superman he is. Right down to like super hearing and supervision and super ventriloquism, all this dumb shit that they did at DC in the 60s. But during the Marvel age, the book really came into its own. And I think, in my opinion, certainly in many people's opinion, it was second only to the flagship Fantastic Four in terms of the innovative storytelling that was going on during the height of the Marvel age, and Stan and Jack's collaboration together. So they collaborated for 8 years together on Thor. And for me, it's the definitive run. It's where they took Thor super cosmic. They told grand stories befitting a god, frankly. So I still put that ahead of Walt Simonson's run, but I don't fault the people that think Walt Simonson's run was more important. If you fast forward to 1983, Walt Simonson was a young writer-artist. He took over as writer and artist on Thor with issue number 337. Thor wasn't selling well. Marvel literally told him he could do anything he wanted with the character, which doesn't happen with your marquee characters. It only happened because Thor was really second or third rate at the time. Right out of the gates, Walt Simonson introduced Beta Ray Bill, and that was super significant because for the first time in the history of the character, someone was worthy to lift Thor's hammer other than Thor. So in the 20 years of continuity prior to Walt Simonson taking over, the only individuals to lift Thor's hammer in the comics were Thor himself, Odin, who of course created the hammer and enchanted it. And there was one story that Stan and Jack did where Loki lifted the hammer when he was in possession of the Norn Stones, but he didn't lift it because he was worthy, and I think they sort of pretended that story didn't exist after that. The Hulk couldn't lift it. Nobody else, everybody else in the Marvel Universe had tried, and no one was worthy. So Walt Simonson set out to tell unique stories, and he hit one right out of the park with his debut. Issue number 337 sold out pretty much immediately. It's been a wall book ever since, like literally the week it came out in 1983. Sales on Thor continued to climb during Walt Simonson's run until it was one of Marvel's best-selling books in the mid-'80s. Simonson's notable creations on the book outside of Beta Ray Bill include Lorelei, who's the Enchantress's sister, the dark elf Malekith the Accursed, Beta Ray Bill's axe Stormbreaker, the Casket of Ancient Winters. He wrote the storyline that gave us the honorable death of the Executioner, as well as Des and Troy, his twin guns. He wrote Thor as a frog, or what he's sometimes known as Throg. The Time Variance Authority, Justice Peace, many other firsts. Much of the embodiment of Thor in the MCU was taken directly from Walter Simonson's run on the book. Well, I remember this poster from the wall of the comic shop as a kid, and nostalgia being what it is, I had to find a copy later on in life. I was able to acquire this really minty copy for $20 a few years ago, and because Thor as a frog showed up in the Loki Disney Plus series, this poster now routinely fetches between $100 and $200 on eBay. And it was while I was searching for this poster that I became aware of this poster. This is actually the earlier of the two. This one was printed originally to hype the first issue on Walt Simonson's run on Thor. And as you can see, this is an ad for issue 337, whereas this is an ad for issue 363. So almost 3 years between the two. In my experience, this poster is the much more difficult to find. I think it was printed in lower numbers, probably saved less because nobody knew that Walt Simonson was going to do all the things they did. When this poster came out, Walt Simonson's run was already getting rave reviews, was majorly hyped, was winning awards, was, selling very well. When this poster was printed, Thor wasn't selling well. This would not have been printed, I don't think, in the same numbers, nor was it saved in the same numbers. So this shows up very infrequently, once or twice a year on eBay in my experience. But what's interesting to me is notice the similarities between the two posters. Although this one is larger, the technology here is basically the same. It's the same paper stock. It's printed on a single sheet, folded twice, 2-color printing process in both cases, black and red here, black and green here, and very simple design with some of Walt Simonson's beautiful artwork and some janky text. Here's where we have the Thor's old logo. This is the Thor logo that was popularized during Walt Simonson's run. To my knowledge, these are the only 2 color promotional posters Marvel did for Thor during Walt Simonson's run. And if any of my viewers know of any others, please let me know so my hunt can continue. If there are others, I'd love to hunt them down and display them together. I paid $19.38 for these 2 posters, this and the Yellow Kid, plus shipping and tax. As I said, this Thor poster for number 337 doesn't come up for auction very often. I only see perhaps 1 or 2 listings a year. In fact, at the moment, there is only a single listing on eBay for $299.95 for a really nice signed copy. I'm all in at $36 for this and the other poster. And for me, that's a small price to pay for buying back a little piece of my childhood and being able to display these 2 posters together from Walt Simonson's run on Thor. Collecting other ephemera within the comic book realm can be a fun diversion from the chase of comic books. With the advent of slabbing, comic books have become more commoditized, and that, combined with the popularity of the movies and TV shows, has brought an influx of new buyers to our hobby. While I think that generally that's a great thing, it can also make chasing some books disheartening, especially during the bull markets like we experienced during the pandemic. I recommend chasing some comic-related ephemera, either toys, statues, posters, other merchandise that's a little bit off the beaten path once in a while, as a fun diversion from your regular collecting habits. It can keep things fresh and exciting in your hobby, and it's another way to curate a collection that is the envy of your fellow nerds. Most of series collectors that I know have a copy of Thor number 337. I don't know anybody else that has a copy of this poster. So it's just a way to sort of flex on your nerd friends. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on this Thor poster and acquiring comic-related collectibles and ephemera. Was there some item from your childhood that you'd like to reacquire whenever the nostalgia bug kicks in? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, happy hunting and take care of one another.